Exodus chapter 18. Now Jethro, the priest of Midian, and Moshe, father-in-law, heard about everything God had done for Moshe and for his people Israel, and how Adonai had brought Israel out of Egypt. Jethro, Moshe's father-in-law, had taken in Moshe's wife Zipporah, after he had sent her away with her two sons. One was named Gershom, because he said, I have been an outsider in a foreign land. And the name of the other was Eliezer, because he said, For my father's God is my help, and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh. So Jethro, Moshe's father-in-law, came with his sons and his wife to Moshe into the wilderness, where he was encamped at the mountain of God. He had told Moshe, I, Jethro, your father-in-law, am coming to you, along with your wife and her two sons. So Moshe went out to meet his father-in-law, then bowed down and kissed him. They asked each other about their welfare and went into the tent. Moshe told his father-in-law all that Adonai had done to Pharaoh and to the Egyptians for Israel's sake, as well as all the travail that had come upon them along the way, and how Adonai delivered them. Jethro rejoiced for all the goodness that Adonai had shown to Israel, since he had delivered them out of the hand of the Egyptians. Jethro said, Blessed be Adonai, who has delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians and out of the hand of Pharaoh, and has delivered the people from under the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that Adonai is greater than all gods, since they had acted arrogantly against him. Then Jethro, Moshe's father-in-law, presented a burnt offering and sacrifices to God. Aaron also came along with all the elders of Israel to eat bread with Moshe's father-in-law before God. The next day, Moshe sat to judge the people, and they stood around Moshe from morning till evening. When Moshe's father-in-law saw all that he did for the people, he said, What's this you're doing to the people? Why sit by yourself alone with all the people standing around from morning until evening? Moshe answered his father-in-law, It's because the people come to me to inquire of God. When they have an issue, it comes to me, and I judge between a man and his neighbor, so I make them understand God's statutes and his laws. But Moshe's father-in-law said to him, What you're doing is no good. You will surely wear yourself out, as well as these people who are with you, because the task is too heavy for you. You cannot do it alone by yourself. Now listen to my voice. I will give you advice, and may God be with you. You represent the people before God, and bring their cases to God. Enlighten them as to the statutes and the laws, and show them the way by which they must walk and work they must do. But you should seek out capable men out of all the people, men who fear God, men of truth, who hate bribery. Appoint them to be rulers over the thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. Let them judge the people all the time. Then let every major case be brought to you, but every minor case they can judge for themselves. Make it easier for yourself as they bear the burden with you. If you do this thing as God so commands you, then you will be able to endure, and all these people will go to their places in shalom. So Moshe listened to his father-in-law and did everything he said. Moshe chose capable men out of all Israel and made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. They judged the people all the time. The hard cases they brought to Moshe, but every small matter they judged themselves. Then Moshe let his father-in-law depart, and he went on his way to his own land. Chapter 19. In the 3rd month after Bnei Israel had gone out of the land of Egypt, that same day they arrived at the wilderness of Sinai. They traveled from Rephidim, came into the wilderness of Sinai, and set up camp in the wilderness. Israel camped there right in front of the mountain. Moshe went up to God, and Adonai called to him from the mountain, saying, Say this to the house of Jacob, and tell Bnei Israel, You have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I carried you on the eagle's wings, and brought you to myself. Now then, if you listen closely to my voice, and keep my my covenant, then you will be my own treasure from among all the people, for all the earth is mine. So as for you, you will be to me a kingdom of Kohanim and a holy nation. These are the words which you are to speak to Bnei Israel. So Moshe went, called for the elders of the people, and put before them all these words that Adonai had commanded them. All the people answered together and said, "Everything that Adonai has spoken, we will do." Then Moshe reported the words of the people to Adonai. Adonai said to Moshe, "I am about to come to you in a thick cloud, so that the people will hear when I speak to you and believe you forever." Then Moshe told the words of the people to Adonai. Adonai said to Moshe, "Go to the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow. Let them wash their clothing. Be ready for the third day. For on the third day Adonai will come down upon Mount Sinai in the sight of all the people. You are to set boundaries for the people all around, saying, 'Be very careful not to go up on the mountain or touch the border of it. Whoever touches the mountain will surely be put to death. Not a hand is to touch it, but he will surely be stoned or shot through. Whether it is an animal or a man, it will not live. When the shofar sounds, they may come up to the mountain." Then Moshe went down from the mountain to the people, consecrated them, and then they washed their clothing. He said to the people, "Be ready for the third day. Do not draw near your wives." In the morning of the third day there was thundering and lightning, a thick cloud on the mountain, and the blast of an exceedingly loud shofar. All the people in the camp trembled. Then Moshe brought the people out of the camp to meet God, and they stood at the lowest part of the mountain. Now the entire Mount Sinai was in smoke, because Adonai had descended upon it in fire. The smoke ascended like the smoke of a furnace. The whole mountain quaked greatly. When the sound of the shofar grew louder and louder, Moshe spoke, and God answered him with a thunderous sound. Then Adonai came down onto Mount Sinai to the top of the mountain. Adonai called Moshe to the top of the mountain, so Moshe went up. Then Adonai said to Moshe, "Go down and warn the people, lest they break through to see Adonai, and many of them die. Even the Kohanim who come near to Adonai must consecrate themselves, so that Adonai does not break out against them." Moshe said to Adonai, "These people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, for you are the one who warned us, saying, 'Set boundaries around the mountain and consecrate it.'" Then Adonai said to him, "Go down, you are to come back up, you and Aaron with you, but do not let the Kohanim and the people break through to come up to Adonai, or he will break out against them." So Moshe went down to the people and told them. Chapter 20. Then God spoke all these words, saying, "I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. Do not make for yourself a graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or on the earth below, or in the water under the earth. Do not bow down to them. Do not let anyone make you serve them. For I, Adonai your God, am a jealous God, bringing the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing loving kindness to the thousands of generations of those who love me and keep my mitzvot. You must not take the name of Adonai your God in vain, for Adonai will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. Remember Yom Shabbat, to keep it holy. You are to work 6 days and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Shabbat to Adonai your God. In it you shall not do any work, not you, nor your son, your daughter, your male servant, your female servant, your cattle, nor the outsider that is within your gates. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, the sea and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Thus Adonai blessed Yom Shabbat and made it holy. Honor your father and your mother, so that your days may be long upon the land which Adonai your God is giving you. Do not murder, do not commit adultery, do not steal, do not bear false witness against your neighbor, Do not covet your neighbor's house, your neighbor's wife, his manservant, his maidservant, his ox, his donkey, or anything that is your neighbor's. All the people witnessed the thundering and the lightning and the sound of the shofar and the mountain smoking. When the people saw it, they trembled and stood far off. So they said to Moshe, "You speak to us, and we will listen, but do not let God speak to us, for we will die." So Moshe said to the people, "Do not be afraid, for God has come to test you, so that his fear may be in you, so that you do not sin." The people stood far off while Moshe drew near to the thick darkness where God was. Then Adonai said to Moshe, "Say this to Bnei Israel, you yourself have seen that I have spoken to you from heaven. Do not make gods of silver alongside me, and do not make gods of gold for yourselves. You are to make an altar of earth for me, and there you will sacrifice your burnt offerings and your fellowship offerings, your sheep and your cattle. In every place where I cause my name to be mentioned, I will come to you and bless you. When you make for me an altar of stones, do not build it from cut stones, for if you use a tool on it, you will have profaned it. Nor are you to go up to my altar on steps, so that your nakedness would not be uncovered while on it." Chapter 21. Now these are the ordinances which you will set before them. If you buy a Hebrew servant, he is to serve for 6 years, and then in the 7th he is to go free without payment. If he comes in by himself, he is to go out by himself. If he was married, then his wife will go out with him. If his master gave him a wife and she bears him sons or daughters, the wife and their children will be her master's, and he will go free by himself. But if the servant plainly states, "I love my master, my wife, and my children, and I will not go out free," then his master is to bring him to God, then take him to a door or to a doorpost. His master is to pierce his ear through with an awl, and he will serve him forever. If a man sells his daughter to be a maidservant, she is not to go free as the male servants do. If she does not please her master, who has selected her for himself, then he is to allow her to be redeemed. He will have no power to sell her to a foreign people, seeing as he has dealt deceitfully toward her. If he betroths her to his son, he must give her the rights of a daughter. If he takes another wife, he is not to diminish her food, her clothing, or her marriage rights. If he does not provide these 3 to her, then she is to go free without payment. Whoever strikes a man so that he dies must surely be put to death. But if he did not hunt him down, yet God caused it to happen, then I will appoint for you a place where he may run. If a man presumes to kill his neighbor with craftiness, you are to take him from my altar and put him to death. Anyone who strikes his father or his mother must surely be put to death. Anyone who steals a person and sells him, or is found with him under his hand, must surely be put to death. Whoever curses his father or his mother must surely be put to death. If people quarrel and one strikes the other with a stone or with his fist, and the other does not die but lies in bed, if he rises again and walks around to his staff, then the one that struck him, he will be cleared, but he must pay for the loss of his time and help him to be thoroughly healed. If a man strikes his male and female servant with a staff, who dies by his hand, he must surely be punished. Notwithstanding, if the servant gets up in a day or 2, he will not be punished, for he is his property. If a man fight and hit a pregnant woman so that her child is born early, yet no harm follows, the one who hit her is to be strictly fined, according to what the woman's husband demands of him. He must pay as the judges determine. But if any harm follows, then you are to penalize life for life, eye for eye, tooth for a tooth, hand for a hand, foot for a foot, burn for a burn, wound for a wound, blow for a blow. If a man strikes the eye of his male or female slave and destroys it, he must let him go free for the sake of his eyesight. If he strikes out his slave's tooth, he must let him go free for the sake of his tooth. If an ox gores a man or a woman so that they die, the ox must surely be stoned, and its meat is not to be eaten. But the owner of the ox will be cleared. If the ox was given to goring in times past, and a warning has been given to its owner, yet he has not kept it pent up, and it has killed a man or a woman, then the ox must be stoned, and its owner must also be put to death. If instead a ransom is placed on him, then he has to pay for the redemption of his life whatever is demanded. Whether it has gored a son or daughter, this rule is to be applied to him. If the ox gores a male or female slave, he is to pay 30 shekels of silver to their master, and the ox is to be stoned. If one uncovers a pit or digs a pit and does not cover it, and an ox or a donkey falls on it, the owner of the pit must pay compensation. He is to give money to the owner, and the dead animal will be his. If one man's ox hurts another ox so that it dies, they are to sell the live ox and divide the price. They are also to divide the dead one. Or if it becomes known that the ox was given to violence in times past, and its owner has not kept it pent up, he must surely pay ox for ox, and the dead animal will be his own. If a man steals an ox or a sheep and kills it or sells it, he is to pay 5 oxen for 1 ox and 4 sheep for 1 sheep. Chapter 22. If a thief found breaking in is struck so that he dies, there is no blood guilt for him. But if the sun has risen, there is blood guilt, and he is to make full restitution. If he has nothing, then he must be sold for his theft. If he has nothing, then he must be sold for his theft. If the item is found in his hand alive, whether ox, donkey, or sheep, he is to pay double. If a man causes a field or vineyard to be eaten by letting his animal loose, and it feeds in another man's field, then he is to make restitution from the best of his own field and the best of his own vineyard. If fire breaks out and spreads among thorns, so that stalks of grain, standing grain, or the field themselves are consumed, then the one who lit the fire must make full restitution. If a man entrusts his neighbor with money or items for safekeeping, and it is stolen out of the man's house, then the thief is found. He must pay double. If the thief is not found, then the master of the house is to present himself to God and to see whether he has laid his hand on his neighbor's goods. For any transgression, whether ox, donkeys, sheep, clothing, or anything else lost, then someone says, "This is mine." The case of both parties is to be brought before God. The one whom God convicts is to pay double to his neighbor. If a man entrusts his neighbor with a donkey, ox, sheep, or any animal to care for, and it dies, is hurt, or taken away with no one seeing, then there must be an oath before Adonai between the two of them to determine whether or not he has laid his hand on his neighbor's goods. The owner is to accept it with no restitution, but if indeed it was stolen from him, he is to make restitution to the owner. If it is torn in pieces, let him bring it as evidence. He is not required to pay for what has been torn to pieces. If a man borrows anything belonging to his neighbor, and it is harmed or dies in the absence of the owner, he must make full restitution. But if the owner is present, he is not required to pay restitution. If it was rented, it is covered by the rental fee. If a man seduces a virgin who is not engaged and lies with her, he must pay a dowry for her to be his wife. But if a father utterly refuses to give her to him, he must weigh out silver equal to the dowry for virgins. You must not permit a sorceress to live. Anyone who lies with an animal must surely be put to death. Anyone who sacrifices to the gods, except to Adonai alone, is to be put under a ban or destruction. You must not exploit or oppress an outsider, for you were outsiders in the land of Egypt. You must not treat any widow or orphan You must not mistreat any widow or orphan. If you mistreat them in any way, and they cry out to me, I will surely hear their cry. My wrath will burn hot, and I will kill you with the sword. So your wives will become widows, and your children become orphans. If you lend money to any of my people, to the poor among you, you are not to act like a debt collector with him, and you are not to charge him interest. If you ever take your neighbor's cloak as a pledge, you are to return it to him before the sun goes down, for that is his only covering, his cloak for his skin. What will he sleep in? When he cries out to me, I will hear, because I am gracious. Do not despise God or curse a ruler of your people. Do not hold back the fullness of your crops or your vintage. You are to present the firstborn of your sons to me. Do the same with your cattle and with your sheep. For 7 days it is to be with its mother, and on the 8th day you are to give it to me. You are to be a holy people for me. You must not eat any flesh torn by beast in the field. You may throw it out to the dogs.